Okay, now it's recording.
Okay. Hi guys, Taven here. You can tell it is a busy day here at the Lotus. So we have a community service day. So it's a day that tribe comes in together and they do different things and those kinds of things. I know that this video and a response or a conversation needs to happen, but I also have a ton of things going on, and energetically there are so many things moving and just transmuting and activating and all these other kinds of things. So the only way I know to do it is to just bring you into a piece of my life, and then just allow for the moment to transpire the way that it's going to. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a deep breath. That's what we're going to do, myself included in this moment. So just allow yourself to take a deep breath in and release. So if you're watching this, first of all, I appreciate you watching it.
That is cool.
I think that there is power when we connect, and I think that there are a lot of things happening just in the world in general right now that are giving us the opportunity and opening the doorway for us to connect and be vulnerable, be transparent, to expand, to grow. All these other shifts and transitions are going on, and it's obvious that Carolina Pagans with a Purpose and the space and the community here in the upstate is a part of that transition, transmutation, activation, expansion, growth, all those pieces. It's obvious that it's happening, right? So there's a couple of things I want to say in response just to everything that's been going on in the page, and that's what I'm going to focus on. I'm going to focus on being the voice on the board of the Carolina Pagans with a Purpose, and just allowing for that conduit to happen. Okay. Where do I want to start? I want to start by reading you our mission statement. So our mission statement at Carolina Pagans with a Purpose is to produce an annual event for the purpose of education, networking, and fun. We strive to dispel erroneous misconceptions of paganism. Sounds simple, right?
It's tail.
Let's dig into it, right? We strive to dispel erroneous misconceptions of paganism. We all know people are afraid of things that they don't understand, and a lot of us know that it's a whole lot easier to sink into a space of war and anger than it is to slip into a space of grace and compassion. It's just easier. It's easier for us to do that to others. It's easier for us to do it to ourselves. I want to start by saying thank you. Sincerely, gratitude sent to those facilitators, the owners of the what is it, Market on Mill? I apologize for butchering if I did that name, but I've dug through the comments, I have dug through the different videos and all those kinds of pieces, and let me tell you, it took salt baths and the chants of the ancestors to get that shit off of me, right? It's deep and it's layered, and it's so many things that are happening right here in our area of the upstate. So many layers and so many energetic moments. Here at Carolina Pagans with a Purpose, this organization, it has been called different things, and it has been around for a really long time. There's a lot of people who have fought and stood in front of so many things and beside so many things in order for us to be able to stand in a space of even being able to openly gather. And so many changes and so many battles have been fought. Is it true that there is a battle right now? Yeah, I guess. But I'm gonna be honest, I'm not sure the battle has ever not been here. I know for me, the shop, you know, I have folders and folders of letters and pamphlets and all kinds of things that are sent to us, and I'm sure that each one of you guys have your own story with what that looks like, and man, that's a thing, right? And for some of you guys who've been fighting this fight and standing in these spaces for a really long time, you know it, you know, you feel it. The scars from the battles that you've been in are there. The desire to make sure that you have a continued voice in society as a whole, in our culture, and all these things, like, that is a real thing. That is valid feelings that each one of us are experiencing in our own way. So what does that bring us to? It brings us to, we have choice, right? We have choice in what we do with this. Here at Carolina Pagans with a Purpose, we're going to uphold our mission statement. We're going to produce an annual event, and it's going to have educational spaces, and it's going to have that networking, and it's going to be fun. And we are going to do everything we can to stand in those spaces of pillarships and lighthouses and spaces that we do our part to help with those misconceptions of what paganism as a whole stands for. And there's so many different layers and so many different levels, and I wish I could see the behind the scenes here. If you can't tell, I don't enjoy spotlight spaces, and there's a lot of love and support happening around me, and I'm really just extremely grateful for it. So I'm a little bit distracted with it as well, so that's happening. Okay, so let me get to some points, all right? We're going to continue to be us. I am so grateful that so many of you guys have come out of the woodworks. I mean, 2 weeks ago, I couldn't get 10 of y'all to respond on a post, and within the last week, all these different people and all of you guys have come out to support, to have conversation, to connect with the people around. There's power in that, and there is so much that we can do with that space. But the truth of the matter is, if we embody and channel all of these anger-filled spaces, no matter how valid and no matter how legit and no matter how real they are for each one of us, if that's what we're bringing, then that's what we're planning, and then that's what we're going to grow, and that's what we're going to be able to get from the garden. And who wants that, So Taven, are you telling me I can't be mad? Fuck no, I'm not. I'm telling you, let's stop and let's pause and let's talk about that. Let's allow ourselves to take the anger and allow the holy rage, right? Kali Ma, she teaches us that. Holy rage has a purpose, but let's be purposeful with it. Are you telling me to go out and to stand in front of these spaces and punch people in the taint? No, I'm not telling you to do that either, right? So what am I telling you to do? I'm not going to tell you what to do, is what I'm telling you. I am just going to remind you that we all have choice. I want you to truly sink yourself into this moment. I want you to scroll back through the page, and I want you to see how much you responded to the hate, and I want you to ask yourself how much you responded to the other side of that same coin. There's choice in that. I know. I can feel the fears. I have some of them too. I share some of them. I can feel all of those pieces. I can sense those pieces moving around, right? But I'm telling you, we have choice to be able to sink into the hate parts of it, and we cultivate hate in our gardens, or we sink into the love and we cultivate love in our gardens. Does that mean that we are fluffy bunnies and we don't do anything and we don't show up and we don't use our voice and we don't find ways of enforcing our boundaries and standing in discernment, standing in our truths? No, that's not what that means. It means that we truly sink into a space. We truly sink into a space where we allow ourselves to love ourselves so much that we choose to show up to the world as such an authentic space of who we are and what we stand for. And for some of us, that means we have to figure out what exactly it is that we stand for. Where do we fall? Where do we land? What do we listen to? And how much do we feed that trauma? Those scars, they're there for a reason and they happen and those stories are real. But we can feed into that and we can get more disease, or we can feed into something different and we can say, there's another option. I don't know what those options are. I personally think that for each one of us, each one of those options look like something different, because I think it's situational, it's environmental, it's so many layers. Viv, can you move that way? I can't see my notes just a little bit. Thank you. So I just think that if we allow ourselves to take a deep breath in and to release it, that we can truly start to get back to our center, get back to our knowings, get back to who we are at our core. Remove all the other shit, remove the scars, remove the traumas, remove all the outside influences and the noise and all those pieces, and ask ourselves, who are we? What do we stand for? For some of us, that means asking ourselves why we left certain spaces of organized religions and beliefs and even jobs and all these other things. For some of us, it means that we have to look and say, oh, I need to remember where I started, when I started asking questions and I started going, man, I think there's more. I think there's something else. I think there is something that I can tap into and listen to that really fucking matters to me. Get back to that energy and really allow yourselves to remember those pieces and what that sounds like to you. Where's those passions? What do you bring to the table? Do you bring making flyers so that people know what your belief system stands for? Does it mean that you help with some of these online situations? Does it help? I don't know. I'm very distracted by the cat. I don't know what those answers are. But what I'm asking you to do is to really allow yourself a minute to take a deep breath, step outside, hug a tree if you have to, and get back to that baseline and that knowing within yourself. Nobody can tell you what that is, and the outside world and the noise around it will influence that so much if you allow it. In my humble fucking opinion, that's giving your power away. You really want to give your power away? I know for some of y'all have, I'm going to get emotional at this part. Y'all have fought this battle long and hard, and you remember the hardships. I was in the military. I remember when I could go into our operations side, into the supply piece, and I could go get a dog tag that took away none, right? Religious preference. I had to put none because I didn't fit into any of the other spaces. I remember the whole journey of being able to walk into there and say, I pick this and it's representative of who I am. These labels and these choices and these rights and these all these things that are happening, they matter. I'm not saying that they don't matter. I'm just saying we have choice in how we choose to show up and empower ourselves. We have choice in how we choose to handle each and every interaction that we have. And sometimes we get so hell-bent on proving who is right and who is wrong that we don't see the and then, right? There's just another way. And I am asking y'all to truly allow yourselves to connect with the divine in the form that you find most fulfilling. And to truly find that quiet space and allow for yourself to bring to the surface those truths, those knowings. Decide purposefully and intently what you're going to do with it. And make sure that you're proud of what that journey looks like for you.
You're doing great.
Thanks.
Y'all done?
No. Oh, yes.
We're all doing great.
We are doing great. We're at a space, right, that my personal truth, let me go this way. My personal truth is that we are at a space in the collective as a whole that is truly being presented with moment after moment of choice. We are being presented with figuring out and deciding what character, what story, what role we play in it. There is a role and there is a space for anger. But in my, again, humble fucking opinion, that anger and that desire to prove right versus wrong is not going to get us anywhere different than we've already been. And I don't know about all of you, but I don't want to be in those spaces anymore. I want something different and new. If you're sitting in this group and you are somebody who would label yourself one of those Christo, which I think I'm butchering that too with the Christian witches in this group, if you have an overlap between those spaces, if you're sitting in this group and you're like, I don't even know what my label is, whatever that is, stand up and truly allow yourself to sink in and speak those truths. You may be here just for being able to build these bridges and being able to allow these spaces to happen and this overlap and these truths. You may make weavings and connections that you don't even have a clue how you did it. That may be your superpower. My personal belief is these are the moments that we chose to be here for. These are the moments that we really get to decide how we're going to show up. We can be stern and strong without having to slit throats. We can show the way in a way that doesn't allow for being taken advantage of or boundaries to be moved through. We can choose to show up at spaces and events and moments in support, and we can choose to stand in that space embodying God and Goddess, embodying sun and moon, embodying those pieces. I just think it's choice, and I think it belongs to all of us. I don't even think that is divided between Christian and pagan. I think that choice is just across the board, and collectively we are being provided with an opportunity to choose. So I'm asking you to be mindful of what you choose. I'm asking you to cultivate your garden and to grow what you want to put in your mouth. You don't want to put it in your mouth, why would you grow it? I don't know. So I'm looking at my notes. Hate versus love. Stand up in your truths. Speak your bridges. Many of us here are energetic bridges. Speak those bridges. We talked about Kali Ma. We've talked about Holy Rage. Remember the and then. We've read the mission statement of CPP. What can we do? We can support aligned energy spaces. Physically, we can support these. I'm telling you, there are many pagan-friendly shops that come and they go. And you know why they come and they go? It's because they eventually run out of support. The community stops showing up. I'm telling you that. I'm being raw and honest. You want these spaces to exist. You want the world to change. Then show up in these aligned spaces. Show up for the planning meetings. Show up for the events. Show up. Show up from a space of, I want to contribute and I want this to matter. Find those passions for yourself and show up in support of those aligned spaces. There is tons of spaces throughout the upstate that are openly these spaces. Use them, support them, show up so that more of them exist and it grows and it ripples, right? Start conversations. I don't know what that looks like. I have some suggestions if anybody wants them on how that happens. Ask questions. questions, and if you're asked questions, try to take a deep breath before you answer it and truly be purposeful and mindful in answering that. Let the divine answer that. Don't let the trauma and the scars and the fears answer that. Use discernment. Be aware. Absolutely. There are roles for each of us to play, and some of us are those lookout towers and those watchtowers and those awareness bringers. If that's your truth, then do it, but do it from a space of that holy rage. Do it from a space that connects you with that heart space and allows you to bring it to life, full of boundaries and discernments and power. Choose to show up. Again, communities, everybody says they want one. When the hard work happens, that's when you get to prove that you actually want to put in the work for it. Explore your knowings, explore your truths, explore the places where you can bridge, explore the places where you can add a little bit of seed to that and say, oh, have you ever thought about this way? Have you ever thought about these pieces? What can I offer from a CPP standpoint? Well, we're gonna be here. We have the event. It is a beautiful event in October. I encourage each one of you to show up. We have wonderful, beautiful relationships with the law enforcement there, and they have been nothing but fair and kind. Explore the fundraisers and the community events. CPP itself, I am willing at any of these events that overlap with our mission statement to show up and do an information booth. If someone wants to sit down and talk about paganism or what those labels mean or any of those pieces, I can do that. I can do that from a non-violent, forward-thinking kind of space. I have cards and exercises and all kinds of cool stuff, and we can do it. So if you're an event organizer and you want us at one of those spaces, then let me know. We'll figure out what we can do. We'll build those bridges together. We'll weave those weavings and make those connections together. My encouragement is, let's get a conversation started about collective magic. How do we show up as the empowered, badass, magical beings that we are and channel that love? Channel source energy. I don't have to like people. They don't have to like me. But we can all have divine source love. Choose mindfully how you choose and the energy you choose to show up. I truly, truly believe each one of us carries this potential and power in our hands, in our heart space, in this meat suit. It would be a shame if we spent it trying to battle old ways, right? And I know for many of us, this is not new, and I know we're tired, and I know we're hurt, and I know those scars are there. The battles, I get it, they're still here. The hills to climb and all those pieces, the obstacles, the resistance, the all those pieces, they're still present, right? I truly, truly believe that the weapons of the war have changed if we allow it, right? And we can remove that war right and wrong connotation from it. We can do that from a space of where it's not that we become docile little fluffy bunnies. We allow ourselves to truly sink into where that power is coming from. And there's a reason why across so many different philosophies they say love is strong. That love, it's strong, man. We just gotta choose to embody it in the most appropriate for the moment way and allow for it to flow through us in a true, raw, authentic kind of way. So again, you're an event organizer and you want presence there in that space, then reach out and we'll work on that. The rest of it, I don't know. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I want to address 2 things and then I'll be done. So we have turned the comments off on those posts. If more posts come, more than likely we will turn off those post comments as well. That is not an attempt to avoid or bypass or not pay attention to. That is an attempt to tell you this is not the garden we're feeding. This is not the seeds we're planting. We can be aware of it. We can bring it to light in ways that don't feed that. Okay? Banning versus not banning. Gatekeeping. Let me tell you, Lady Crow Moon, she works her ass off to try to keep this a sacred space. She really does. We're all human. We're all gonna make choices that others are gonna disagree with in those kinds of spaces. I will keep a watchful eye. We will collectively keep a watchful eye on what those pieces and if it moves into hate speech and true those boundaries and those lines, then we will address them. I'm the type that's going to address them publicly. I'm going to address them transparently. I'm going to bring it to the table. So if you are somebody who is messaging somebody off to the side and you're pulling in all these strings and you're stirring up all this shit, then expect that there's going to be a level of accountability in that space if it comes to my attention. If you are the receiver of this space, choose how you show up in that space. If you don't like it, if you don't want to be a part of it, then don't feed it. I think we get to choose what we feed. We get to choose what we plant. Doesn't mean that all those pieces that really fucking suck aren't there, but we get to choose how we show up and what we do with it. We have those pieces on the page as far as what we will and what we won't allow. We will do our best over the coming days to make sure that we do our part to keep this sacred. But it's your community too, and so tap into it, align with that energy, and then choose to be an energy and a character in this story. Choose to show up to this journey. Use your bridges, use your truths. Yep, I think that's where I'm gonna let it land for now. That's where I'm gonna let it land. I appreciate the involvement, I appreciate the excitement, the expansions, the connections, all of those pieces, and I sincerely encourage each one of you to continue that and to continue to show up to spaces in support, make those connections, make those bridges come together, and allow yourself to be vulnerable and transparent with those that are standing beside you. Choose. And allow for yourself to remember your own power and compassion, right? Compassion and grace. It doesn't mean tolerance. It doesn't mean that we accept things. It doesn't mean that we don't have a voice. It doesn't mean we don't get loud. It doesn't mean that we don't say something about it. It just simply means that we choose mindfully the energy that we're bringing into that moment. I think that's all I have. So I have a little fun button. Love and muchness to all you guys, and I sincerely hope to see this community continue to grow and cultivate beautiful and magical things. Thanks, guys. Did it turn up?
Nope.